It seems what's left of my human side is slowly changing in me. Will you give it to me? Looking at my own reflection, when suddenly it changes, violently it changes. Oh no, there is no turning back now. You've woken up the demon, the enemy. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your hate and let it run to me. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You mother, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You fucker, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. And this is the gift that has been given to me. I can see inside you the sickness is rising. Don't try to deny what you feel. Will you give it to me? It seems that all that was good has died and is decaying in me. Will you give it to me? It seems you're having some trouble in dealing with these changes, living with these changes. Oh no, the world is a scary place. your life, you will be shown how I become indestructible. Determination and is incorruptible. From the endless and a terror to behold. Annihilation will be unavoidable. Every broken enemy will know that they're permitted to be invincible. Take a last look around while you're alive. I'm an indestructible master of war.
Yeah, good morning, that though. It helps when you're doing a call-in show if you turn the phones on. I have found that to be the case over the years.
Thank you for calling Call-In Studios. Enter your 6-digit PIN. Welcome, host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host.
Okay. 706. Well, you know the number, don't you? You should know the number by now. Everyone should know the number. It's required. There's really no excuse for not knowing it. You want me to put it on the screen for you? I will. 706-786-4481. 706-786-4481 is the number. Today's Tuesday. Brag or cry. Call me up. Give me your list of excuses why your team pooped the bed last week. Or give me a call. Let me know why your team won 62-0 in a conference game. The choice is yours. 706-786-4481. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Starting the show an hour early because me and Pete are doing the Lunch Money Show tonight at 10 o'clock. So don't worry, I'm not going to end this stream or anything. It's just at 10 o'clock, Pete's going to come on and we're going to do the Lunch Money routine that we normally do on Monday nights, but we're unable to do yesterday. So we got an hour of phone calls here, and then Pete will join us at 10 o'clock. That's how it's going to go. Troy, thank you for hitting the super chat at the start of the show. He said, Lou, who should be QB starter at OSU going forward? Well, C.J. Stroud's hurt, so it should be the other guy. I didn't watch the Ohio State game this weekend, I'm going to be honest with you. They were playing Akron, and there was too many other good games on at that time, so I didn't watch one play of that game. So I don't really, I could make something up or pretend, but honestly, I have no idea. Whatever you think about Ryan Day, he's proven to be pretty good with QBs in his time at Ohio State. It's not a Kirby Smart situation where you can't trust what he tells you about quarterbacks. So whatever Ryan Day tells me, I believe it until proven otherwise, but I didn't watch any of the games, so I really can't say much more than that about it. So my gut tells me go with the guy you picked to start the first time, which would be C.J. Stroud. So that's that. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. Orlando, Brandon, Tennille, George, Kirby, Ajo, Pizza Woman, Shane Gaming, Twisted Chicken, Ammonia Wilder, Vandy Dandy, Ego 1, Win Mode 88, Win Model 88, whatever the hell. I don't invent y'all's names, y'all do. Katusa 93, John Quick, Nathan Hale, Aaron Brown, D4 Sports, Jay Jones, Brad Pitt, Lucas Sharp, Mike Vick, Robert Vandermeer, Jabari Jones, Noel Squad, Johnny Bolton, Jenny. Mama said they were magic shoes. Forrest Gump, the smartest person ever to play for Alabama. Yeah, that's a fact. Anyway, appreciate everybody tuning in. We're going to get right to the phones because the phone lines are backed up already. The Super Chat is located directly below the comment section. If you want to support the show or ask a question, Super Chat's a great way to do it. There's also a PayPal link for those of you that have and use PayPal and don't mind doing it that way. You can attach a note or a question to your PayPal. YouTube steals half your Super Chat. PayPal does not. So I put the PayPal link in the comment section there. The mods will post it one or two more times over the course of the show. It's also listed in the description of the video. All right, let's get to the phone and see what they're talking about. Yeah, good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hi, Lou.
Hi.
Hi, Lou. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing
This
good.
is old Millis.
What's up, Millis?
Well, I just wanted to call in and let you know that I really appreciate what you do, Lou. I came to you after the 2-26 games. Algorithm sent me one of your videos, and very entertaining stuff. And I started watching more and more. I saw where you bought all the Christmas paper at Walmart, and I started just digging in and watching some of your stuff. And at first I thought it was just a bunch of comedy and stuff like that. And you have that, and it's great. But the more I get to know your channel and what you do, it's actually very educating, and you had a talent in sports journalism, sir. And I've been watching just about everything since then. And you see me in the comment section, and I send a super chat every now and then. But I wanted to I just wanted to call you and kind of introduce you to who I am, and let you know that I'm locked in. I'm a Bama fan, but I'm a college football fan like you are.
Yeah, I recognize your name from the comment section, Millis Vanillis. And, Georgia is my favorite team. But like you just said, and like I say all the time, I'm a college football fan. The only difference, everybody you see talking about college football is a fan of some team. The only difference is I don't hide who it is for me. So a lot of these people on TV, like, Kirk Herbstreit wants Ohio State to win. He wants Clemson to win because his kids go there. Everybody, Reese Davis graduated from Alabama. He's an Alabama fan. He just doesn't wear an Alabama hat when he's on ESPN. I just don't try to hide it. I'm a Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia's my favorite team, but I'm a college football fan, and I've tried to create a channel and a community here, not just for Georgia fans, but for college football fans, no matter who your favorite team is. So I'm glad you found the channel. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to butter you up or anything like that, but I really think that you have the best or one of the best channels on YouTube in sports, period. Yeah. And especially in college sports. You have a really great knowledge, and your community, your followers, your folks that are in the comment section, and ones that call in on the show, and the ones that come in and talk on the morning show and stuff like that, they really are knowledgeable folks, We have a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. The entertaining side of it's great too, and like that. But I don't know. I don't want to ride the whole show. I just want to kind of let you know who I am. I live in the middle of Tater country.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not a fan. Are you familiar with Furman University?
Furman, yeah.
The Furman Paladin.
Yeah, the Paladin.
I think you have one of their many of them.
Yeah.
Well, I live right just about on the doorstep is where I'm at.
Okay.
In the world.
Yeah.
I'm in Travelers, South Carolina, and I went to school at Wofford College in the 80s, but I didn't graduate. I'm 55 years old, so it was a long time ago when I went to school at Walker.
Yeah. So you're old enough to remember when Alabama was hot doo-doo in the late 90s and early 2000s, because you can help explain to some of these younger people that Alabama's not going to be winning 15 games a year forever. Eventually, things go up and down. Yeah, and you've seen it. So
Well, absolutely, and I'm familiar with all three Mikes that were coaches at Alabama, and the whole story behind one of them. There was a few years I kind of walked away from college sports altogether because there was so much going on that I just lost interest in it. You know, I kind of came back around, and back in 2008, I moved out to Oregon and lived there until 2012.
okay.
And Pac-12 out there in the Pacific Northwest. Where I lived at was duck country for sure. If it wasn't green, it was yellow.
Right.
You know, and some of the friends I met and worked with out there, huge duck fans, you know. And what year was it when Oregon lost to Auburn, either in the playoffs or the Natty? I forget. That might have been
2010.
You had Auburn. Might have been 2010 or somewhere in there. Oregon played against Auburn in the postseason. That was about the time I lived out there.
Yeah.
Boy, that was a big deal. You know, that was a big game for them Oregon Duck people then. And so it kind of got me kind of rekindled back into the college sports thing. You kind of, you know, you didn't want to go to work every day not being able to talk about it and know what you're talking about.
Right, yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm glad you found a channel. Thanks for calling in. I really appreciate the kind words. And the best thing you said is that the comment section and the callers is what keeps this thing going, because that's definitely true. And think whatever you want about me, but the comment section and the people that call in and participate on this channel are really what makes this channel, including you, Millis Vanilla. So thank you for the call. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Long time no speak. This is Baylor Man.
Taylor Man?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Baylor Man. Yeah, good morning. Yeah, I guess you're 4-0, so you tuned back in.
No, I've tuned in when we were 0-4.
Oh, okay.
I remember those seasons. In fact, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
In fact, it was last year. But yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Good.
You want to talk some football?
Well, I'm glad we beat. Of course.
All right, good.
I'm glad that we beat Iowa State, but I woke up a little bit perturbed because I looked on 247 Sports.
I'm just a little bit perturbed.
The guy that, and I saw that the quarterback that should have started for us announces he's going to the transfer portal, Jacob Zeno. I was a little perturbed.
He's the quarterback that should have started for you?
In my opinion, yes.
So if he would have started, you'd be 4-0 instead of 4-0?
Well, I don't know. I just thought at the beginning of the season he should have started. He was the one that impressed me most. But, hey, Gary Bohannon, he's good. He's a good one.
Yeah,
he's improved a lot.
Iowa State and Oklahoma don't look nearly as good as most people thought they would in the preseason. So there's a handful of teams right now I think have a legitimate shot to make the Big 12 title game, including Baylor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and our opponent this Saturday, Oklahoma State, they're 4-0.
Yeah, I can't ever buy into them.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you get to some other callers, and in the meantime, have a good morning.
All right, Baylor Man, thanks for calling in. Good luck to your Bears this weekend against the Fighting Mike Gundy. Remember, he's a man. He's 47. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Luke, Nate the Great. How you doing?
Hey, what's up,
Sure.
Nate? I'm good.
Not much. Bad news. This is a quick reminder. My mom is quarantining and she got COVID.
Oh no. Well, I hope she'll be okay. I hope they come out with a vaccine soon,
Okay,
so this
but-
stuff can be prevented.
I know, but anyways. But I'm gonna call to brag, because Michigan won against Rutgers by barely, and I was not happy about it. But it's mixed of both.
Well,
But
that's a good win.
I-
Rutgers is better than people give them credit for. I took Rutgers into point. I took Rutgers into 20 points this week. I figured Michigan would win the game, but 20 points was way too much. Rutgers is a really good team.
Yeah.
But Nate, did you know
and
out of 130 teams in college football, there's only one team that has 0 turnovers this year? Who is it?
Michigan.
Michigan.
Dang, I'm just shocked that Rutgers had a decent defense.
I'm not shocked at all. I got Greg Schiano as a head coach. I mean, this is the same thing that happened last time he coached there. The only people, the only people that are even pretending to be surprised are Tennessee fans,
Yeah, I was going to say that.
because they could have had Greg Schiano.
poor him.
They offered Greg Schiano the job. Greg Schiano accepted the job. The fans got mad and burned down a Radio Shack, and so they rescinded the offer.
No, that's just ridiculous. Why?
It is ridiculous.
Tennessee fans, Tennessee fans, get your poop together.
Right.
But they won't.
So who y'all got? Who y'all got next?
But anyway, Wisconsin at Wisconsin though. I think we might win a close one, but it's at Wisconsin though.
Yeah, Wisconsin is owned,
We
y'all.
got
Owned.
yeah.
Say it with
Yes.
me.
That's what
Owned. You haven't beat them at Wisconsin
Owned.
since when? 2010?
26. 26 years.
Oh, well, Michigan gets the win this week. Thank you for the call, Nate. Good to hear from you. Good luck to your Wolverines. They're looking pretty good. Don't look now. Michigan looks good. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou, it's Daniel, Florida fan here.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Just I wouldn't say I want to brag, but I'm pretty content with
You can brag about the second half.
our Tennessee win. Yeah, but honestly, man, at first at the beginning of the season, I'm not gonna lie, Emily Jones was doo-doo, but I don't know, man. I'm pretty impressed with the way he's improved, and I feel like when this Georgia game comes through, I feel like we have a shot with Emily Jones.
What about the rest of the fans that want Simone Biles to play quarterback? Emily Jones has looked a lot better the last 2 weeks when he hasn't had Simone Biles peering over his shoulder. 4 turnovers in the first 2 games against terrible teams. Only 1 turnover in the last 2 games against Alabama and Tennessee when Simone Biles was sidelined with an injury. It seems to me Emily Jones plays better when Simone Biles isn't peering over his shoulder.
Well, don't you think that's a good thing to have? I mean, let's say we're down to Georgia 2 touchdowns, and we need a game changer. We can then go to Anthony Richardson,
right?
And he can kind of get us back in the game. So I feel like we have a kind of like a double-headed snake where if Emory Jones isn't working out, and who knows, he might. Georgia struggles with running quarterbacks. And
who said that?
Emory Jones is a running quarterback.
Since when?
I feel like
Since when?
Since when what?
You say Georgia struggles with running quarterbacks. Can you give me an example?
Jalen Hurts killed y'all in the second half.
Running?
Have you not? Yeah, that touchdown that took you guys out, that won the game was a running touchdown.
Georgia doesn't have any issue with running quarterbacks. You'll find that out on Saturday. Watch the Georgia-Arkansas game this weekend. Find out what dollar store Cam Newton does to the Georgia defense. He's a running quarterback, is he not?
Yeah, but like I said, say we can't run it. Anthony Richardson is a passer.
You can't run it. No one can run it on Georgia. You can't run it on Georgia. No one can run it. Nobody runs it on Georgia. Period. You're not running the ball on Georgia.
Every defense, just like every defense has a weakness, Lou.
With Georgia, it ain't the running game, sir. That's what I'm telling you. We've given up 2 rushing touchdowns in 3 years. So you tell me. I don't know what you. I mean, you tell me about these running quarterbacks. We've given up 1 rushing touchdown to a quarterback in the last 3 years. 1 rushing touchdown to a running back in the last 3 years. You're not running the ball on Georgia.
But here's my point, Lou. Say we're having issues moving the ball.
You are going to have every team that plays Georgia is going to have issues moving the ball. The answer is not to run the ball; it's to throw the ball. The weakness is not the running defense. I mean, come on, buddy.
Here's the thing.
I mean, do you know anything about Georgia's defense at all? The weakness is the secondary, sir, not the front 7. You're not running the ball on Georgia.
Exactly. Your weakness is the secondary. And with a play caller like Dan Mullen, I'm pretty sure we can work up some plays to,
I'm pretty sure Dan Mullen is 2-29 against top 10 teams, sir.
Lou,
tell me about the play calling. Yes, he's 1-3 against Kirby. 1-3.
Exactly. But he's just now.
LSU beat you last year. LSU beat you last year.
Because of a dumb play.
Tell me what that means. Tell me what that means for this year. LSU beat you last year. What does that mean for this year? Nothing. Thank you for the call.
I understand.
Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou. This is Mike from Kentucky. What's
up,
going on, brother?
Nothing.
Hey, man. I hear you. Yeah, I told you Texas A&M's quarterback play was going to be their Achilles heel. Remember?
Well, everybody knew that. They have a backup playing.
Well, the starter don't throw the ball any better than the backup. He just has a little bit better set of wheels. I watched their spring game twice. I knew that the Texas A&M Kool-Aid was weak.
Yeah.
I took Colorado in the points 2 weeks ago. That's a hard place to play up there in Colorado, man. The air is thin. If you don't have plenty of depth, man, you'll be huffing and puffing in the fourth quarter playing in Boulder. A lot of people aren't aware of that.
Right.
Yeah, I think Georgia's going to get a little bit of a gut check this weekend. Alabama will too. We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, well,
Matt Corral's the only guy in the West that can beat us.
Everybody thinks that today, and then on Sunday, Arkansas is a terrible team and they're overrated, and idiot Georgia man's bragging about beating Arkansas.
Yeah, Georgia looks like a juggernaut for sure. I don't see too many holes in their game right now. Maybe the secondary. I think there's only 2 teams in the West that can give them a game. That's maybe Ole Miss and Bama. Bryce Young's panning out pretty good.
Yeah, so far so good.
He can swing the ball pretty decent.
Yeah.
So, man, I couldn't believe how bad our defense played last week against Florida, week before last.
Yeah, that surprised me too.
Bama turned into
I mean, they pushed you around on both lines of scrimmage. That was the most surprising thing to me. Like, they were running the ball. Everyone knew they were running the ball. Nick Saban knew they were going to run the ball. All 11 guys on defense for Alabama knew they were going to run the ball, and there was nothing you could do. That was alarming.
Well, we were trying to contain their quarterback instead of getting off the blocks. They were just trying to maintain gap integrity.
Yeah.
And our middle linebacker, man, that transfer kid we got, he ain't no better than Dalen Moses. He played out of position half the second half.
A Toto?
Whoever, I think Pete Golden's actually,
Yeah, he was the worst player on the field that day. Yeah. Now, he's your leading tackler,
I guarantee
which is alarming, but he was the worst player on the field that day against Florida. He was terrible that day. No doubt about it.
And Pete Golden's in charge of middle linebackers. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. This Pete Golden cat, man, the dude, he don't even comb his hair.
Wow.
I'm comb my hair. Really lose faith in this guy.
I ain't combed my hair. I ain't combed my hair in 20 years.
Dude, have you ever noticed him? How he looks on the sidelines? He looks like he crawled out of a freaking homeless encampment out in San Francisco. Looks like he just rolled out of a tent or something. Damn, dude. Go to the barber. Do something.
That's
I mean,
brutal.
he's an embarrassment. I think he's going to be our Achilles heel this year. We'll see, man. He better disguise his coverages about Corral, because if Bama plays their normal bump and run, turn your back on the Mississippi quarterback, we're going to get our asses handed to us.
Yeah, y'all are really young on
we can
offense
win
this year. So I was kind of like, to me, Alabama's defense needs to carry them at least the first half of the season, while that offense kind of. I mean, because there's a lot of new faces over there. Running backs, wide receivers, quarterback, tight end. So the defense not being as good as some people thought it would be is a little worrisome heading into this Ole Miss game.
Yeah, they had the defense hyped up. We finally got LeBron Ray back in the rotation on the D-line, and he's the grown man on the Alabama D-line. He's in the same conversation with Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, cats like that, if he can stay healthy, but he's just the injury bug just,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was glad to see him back on the field against Southern Mississippi. If he gets some playing time this weekend, he's our grown man this year. All right, Lou, I'm going to let somebody else talk, man.
All right, buddy. Yeah, good luck this weekend. That's going to be a hell of a game. I'll be watching 3:30 CBS.
Yeah, well,
good luck to you, and call us next week on Tuesday. Either way, now, brag or cry.
All right, I will.
All right, buddy.
I ain't going to cry.
All
hey,
right.
man, I don't disappear if we get beat. Later,
I know
brother.
that. All right, buddy. Bye. Good to hear from you. Thank you for the call. A couple of people have hit the PayPal link. Let me get to those real quick. Get ready, Lou. The narrative for Arkansas isn't any good when Georgia smothers them. That's a fact, Davis. This has been happening for years on this channel. Everyone's beating Georgia until Georgia wins, and then they're terrible as soon as the game is over. That's just the way it goes around here. Basic and simple-minded people. The reality is Arkansas is a good team. They're still going to be a good team at 4 o'clock on Saturday after Georgia beats them. Rhino, my man, thank you for hitting the PayPal, supporting the show as usual. You're good people, man. He says, Georgia, Arkansas. Wish I could be there. Hope the Dogs dominate. Yeah, we're having a good time over here on Saturday. I've got a bunch of, I don't know how many people are coming over. Of course, everyone's invited, so I don't have any idea who's coming. 6 or 7 people probably coming over here to watch the game. I'll be live streaming right here on YouTube for anybody that wants to hang out during the Georgia-Arkansas game and watch us live stream. Who's coming over? Pigskin Peete will be here. He's a tater man. Huffer Billy Paul will be here. He's a tater man. Raj will be here. He's a Georgia man. Tiger Baskins will be here. He's a Georgia man. Who else am I leaving out? JC will be here. He's a Georgia man. Golden Blue Man will be here. He's a Mountaineer man. And whoever else decides to show up will be here for the live stream Saturday at noon right here on LouTube for you. Right here on LouTube for you. Millis Vanilla says, Lou, I didn't get a chance to say go Dogs this weekend. Good games are coming. Bunch of good games this weekend. One that's flying under the radar, Maryland and Iowa. Maryland's undefeated. Pineapple Jr. has been playing really, really good. I like Maryland's coach, Loxley. But Iowa has looked legit this year. But I think that's going to be a really good game. And then, of course, you got the big three that everyone's talking about, Georgia and Arkansas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Cincy, and Notre Dame. Debo Ray, thank you for the super chat. You rethinking your Ohio State thoughts, or are you going to need more time? But on a real note, we will improve before Penn State. Who you got, OSU or Penn State? I can't make a pick on that game right now. If I had to pick that game right now, I'd pick Penn State. Ohio State needs to get better to win that game, in my opinion. I think they can. They're talented enough to win it, but they got to play like it. And so far, they haven't. And that's not a knock on Ohio State as far as losing to Penn State. I think Penn State's a really good team this year. The Big Ten East is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State. It's a tough division. Might be the best division in football this year. Especially if Texas A&M ends up not being that good. We already know Auburn's no good and LSU's no good. Alabama, Ole Miss, Arkansas in the West. Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Michigan State in the Big Ten East. LSU Scooter, thank you for the super chat. I bet Lou $20 you don't beat Arkansas by 18.5 points. That's the betting line. I'll PayPal you now if you're confident. $20, Georgia by 18.5. What the hell? I'll bet you. I hadn't decided yet whether I was going to take the points in that game or not, lay the points in that game or not. But if you want to do a $20 bet, I'll bet you. I could lose a lot of money this weekend. I have $100 on the Alabama Ole Miss game and $200 on the Cincinnati Notre Dame game. So, might be eating wish sandwiches next week. Wish I wouldn't have made those bets. Okay. All right. Fine Bum. Thank you for the super chat. It's quite possible that Arkansas and Ole Miss will be the top 2 SEC teams after this week. That's fake news. Just imagine. I've been watching the channel for 5 years now. Can't wait to hear your commentary if this happens. Ben Thomas, thank you for the super chat. Couldn't be more proud of the Hogs. I'm taking them to cover Saturday. Probably a smart bet. Probably a smart bet. I'm only betting the $20 with LSU Scooter because it's $20, and I like LSU Scooter. He's been around here a long time, so if you want to make the bet, I'll make the bet with him. Just remind me after the game because I get emotional. But you just email me or something after the game and remind me if Georgia loses or if Georgia doesn't cover. You didn't invite Bobby Durkins. I've said everyone's invited. I'm not inviting anyone. I'm not sending out personal invitations to anybody because then the one person I don't invite gets offended. So everyone's invited. Anybody that wants to come, all they have to do is email me. I'll give them the details. Hunter Ledford, thank you for the super chat. Didn't mean to diss Skowski so bad Saturday on the watch party. Hope he's okay and recovers. Yeah, Taint Roll got injured Saturday. James Skowski, middle linebacker. Clemson, been there 11 years. He got injured. Our good buddy Taint Roll. Shout out to Taint Roll. I hope he's okay too. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Uncle Lou. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good. Hey, I can tell. I'm good, man. Hey, I want to know if I can claim a moral victory from this past weekend.
There are no more victories here.
Can I do that? Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna take some liberties because last week, leading up to the Texas A&M on your shows, we had somebody in the chat room that was calling individuals. What was it called? Oh, we were special ed if we thought Arkansas was going to beat Texas A&M, and I ain't going to say no names. And so I even went as far as saying that that Arkansas was not only going to beat them, was going to take 14. Well, they were ahead by 14 at one point, and I fell short for a point.
Yeah.
And you and Peete even talked about like, man, that's stretching it. But you know what? Since he called me special ed, I told my wife I was kind of feeling like, oh, maybe that guy's right, so I ordered a short bus.
I called you. I called you special ed?
No, I'm not going to say any names.
A type troll. I got you. Because I bet Arkansas on the money line. I thought Arkansas would win, too. Now, I didn't think they would win by whatever you said, 14 or 20. I thought it would be closer, but I took Arkansas on the points in that game. Yeah, I cashed. I mean, I took Arkansas on the money line. You didn't. I cashed in.
No, right. I just said it just because there was somebody that sips tea out of Texas that was saying that everybody that thought Arkansas would win, period,
gotcha,
was special ed.
Right.
So I ordered a short bus thinking, I'm feeling kind of bad. You know, so, but yeah, man, we'll see if that line sticks with Georgia and Arkansas, getting closer to the game. The one conversation I got into after this Saturday was with people is is, they're like, oh, Clemson, man, that win for you guys, you're claiming that win. And again, I'll say this, I'm a UGA guy. I don't have anything with Arkansas, whatever. But they were talking about the Clemson game, and Clemson is definitely a good ball club. But you made some points, and I've made some points with other individuals that they're just underachieving right now. And there's stuff probably going on in the background that I think a lot of people are talking about that is hampering that program at this point.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, they got issues on the offensive line, but they're not a bad team. I think there's a lot behind the scenes that's going on. So that's still a quality win, and we'll see where they end up.
Well, I don't care if it's a quality win or not. I mean, UGA is not a 2-loss Pac-12 team. We don't.
Right, exactly.
Georgia's record will speak for itself at the end of the year. We don't need anyone to consider Clemson a good win or a bad win. We don't need that. All we have to do is go 11-1 and win the SEC championship game. That's all Georgia has to do. Doesn't matter who they beat in regular season. Yeah, we're not.
Right.
It's not an Ohio State situation or something where, like Ohio State lost to Iowa or something one year, or Purdue or something, and then they didn't have a great win to fall back on. Or like look at Oregon, for example. If Oregon loses a game, then they need Ohio State to be a good win. Georgia's not going to be in that situation. It doesn't matter whether Clemson loses the rest of their games. That's not going to affect Georgia at all. Nothing. The only thing that's going to affect Georgia is losing games. That's it. But, hey, thank you for the call. I'm going to have to let you go because I've got to end the show right at 10 because we're having Peete on to do the Lunch Money show. So there's 4 people on hold. Slim Shady, you're the last one. Slim Shady will be the last caller. So if you're not on now, don't call because you're not going to get on. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's up, Uncle Lou? It's Edward from Mississippi, and I'm not going to waste any time talking about other SEC teams because this is the big one this week. We got
Georgia and Arkansas. Georgia and Arkansas. That's the big one.
Yeah, my bad. I'll take Georgia.
You want to talk about Bama Ole Miss, though?
Yeah,
okay.
I think I do.
Now, they put up 650 yards on you last year. How are you going to stop that this year?
Well, we're not going to completely stop it. Maybe we can slow it down a few drives just to get enough points on the board to escape with a win. I don't know. I think we have the quarterback and the coach to do it, and I think our defense is improved to enough of a point where it's capable we could do it. I'm not going to make any guarantees, but I like having the 2:30 game. I don't mind going on the road. I think if we can jump out early, maybe force a field goal or a stop early and score again, get like a 10-0, 14-0 lead. I know that might sound a little ridiculous, but I mean, I think that's one way Ole Miss could win. You got to jump on them and maybe force them into a mistake.
Last year, the team with the best quarterback won. I think that will happen again Saturday. And the team with the best quarterback this year in that game is Ole Miss.
Well, I do commend you for all your big betting this week, including Cincinnati. Do appreciate that Ole Miss bet. What's weird is I think we can win this game, but I don't know if we can win the West if we win this game. Like I've called in a couple of times with you, and we've talked about how Ole Miss can beat Alabama, but I don't know if they can run the rest of that gauntlet. I mean, they got Arkansas the week after.
And I thought the same thing all offseason. I said, Ole Miss is going to be a good enough team that can go in there and beat Alabama and then lose 3 more games somewhere. But LSU is circling the drain. Auburn is circling the toilet bowl. Texas A&M appears to be getting worse every week. There's really only Arkansas. If you beat Bama, you can lose to Arkansas, and it won't matter.
That's right.
Now then you'll have to win the rest. That's it for your cushion there if that happens. You play Arkansas immediately after Alabama?
Yeah, it's at home.
Oh, that's rough because Arkansas is a very physical team too. That's going to be that's a tough 2-game stretch right there. There aren't very many teams on planet Earth that could beat Alabama and Arkansas in back-to-back weeks.
I think we're going to split them. But the problem is, if we lose to Alabama and beat Arkansas and win the rest of our games, we're not going to win the West.
But that's the
Alabama's
thing.
going to go 12-0.
Right. Whoever loses this game needs the other team to lose 2 times, and that's not likely to happen either way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. If y'all win, I don't think it's very likely you lose 2 more games. If Bama wins, I don't think it's likely they lose 2 more games. So the loser is probably done here as far as winning the West. Now, you could lose to Bama, go 11-1, and get in the playoffs. We've seen it happen. Bama in 2017.
Yeah.
Now you're going to need Oregon to lose. You're going to need somebody that you're going to need probably a 2-loss Big Ten champ, something like that. Maybe Oklahoma drops a game. Something you're going to need something weird to happen in order for that to happen. But it is possible.
Mm-hmm. I don't. Even if we went 11-1, I don't think we would get in. I just think that was an Alabama thing. I don't know, but here's the thing I'll say about running the table. Some of these teams we played later on in the year, and maybe some of them have fixed their issues. Maybe Auburn or A&M solves something and sneaks up on us. I don't know, but as for this week, I remember the line opened at -20 Alabama. That surprised me. I know it's shrunk down to 14.5, but I think we cover that, and I think we have been mostly vanilla on offense the first 3 weeks, and of course we have had a bye week. Lane Kiffin, you and I both know he's going to throw everything at Nick Saban.
Yeah.
But
no, it's going to be a great game. Probably the 2 Heisman front runners going at it. Nick Saban, defensive genius. Lane Kiffin, offensive genius. It was a crazy game last year. It's going to be a great game. Thank you for the call, but I got to keep it moving. 3 more calls to go. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
All right, so I could touch on a lot of things, I reckon. I mean, I could touch on the moral victories of Florida.
Pick one or two.
I could touch on how...
Pick 1 or 2 things.
Well, I mainly wanted to touch on how Texas fans, it seems like, have all of a sudden become Arkansas fans, right?
Oh, they're trying to convince everybody how good Arkansas is since they lost to them?
I mean, right. I mean, that's what it seems like.
Oh, okay.
I mean, from their fan base.
Right.
Just from what I've seen in the interactions I've had.
Yeah.
But then they turn around and then they say, "Oh, we'll never chant SEC. We'll never cheer for another SEC team. We could never understand how that would happen."
They will.
And it's like, you really don't get it, do you? And they're not even in the conference yet, and they're already doing what they said they wasn't going to do.
Right.
So I really just wanted to say, I think it's funny how that, the Texas man, it's almost as funny as the Florida man.
The Texas man is a special breed. There's no doubt about that. I found that out in 2018. They're a special breed. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, that was my main thing. I just want to throw that out there.
All right, buddy.
And like I said, I'm trying to make it sweet. So there you go.
All right. Thank you for the call, buddy. Whoever this is, 937 area code, I'm going to have to drop your call because I'm only taking 2 more calls. We got to switch to the bringing Pete on at 10 o'clock for the Lunch Money Show. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
The man of Georgia.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing, sir?
Doing good. How you been?
I'm doing all right. Lou, I've been doing all right. It's always good to talk to a man. I'm a Florida State man. You're a Georgia man, but we're both college football fans first.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Yeah, it's been a while since I've heard from you.
Lou,
but yeah, I know who you are.
Now, I'm going to tell you this. Lou, I'm going to tell you, I really believe that Georgia is going to win the national title this year. And let me tell you why. It takes, in order to beat Georgia's defense, The only teams that I've seen do it are those that have dynamic offenses. Joe Burrow, LSU, Mac Jones last year, and I forget that Harris guy. What's his name?
Harris.
The running back that Alabama had last year.
Najee Harris. Najee Harris, yep.
I tell you, Najee Harris and Mac Jones last year, and Kyle Trask and Kyle.
Yep.
And that's what you need to beat Georgia's defense. I don't see anybody in all of college football now. We're in the SEC who has that. If you look at what's going on with Florida, Emory Jones, it was a good victory against Tennessee. Not a dynamic offense. It's a read option. Same thing with Arkansas. It's a read option. And if you run that against Georgia's defense, you're going to get stuck into the ground. I don't see any team, and that includes Alabama. Alabama has a good offense. Their quarterback is young. Alabama's defense is not as good as they've been in years past. I think they're going to break down. I really believe that Alabama could lose. And so I think Georgia is going to they look to be Georgia's off. But with the competition that's out there now, they really don't have to be. This is one year where their defense can carry them and actually win a national.
Yeah.
Defense was
well, and the thing about that is you look at like Georgia's defense is better than it was last year, and Alabama's offense, in my opinion, is not as anywhere near as good as it was last year. So I like Georgia's chances against Alabama potentially in the SEC title game. I would be more worried playing Ole Miss than I would Alabama, and it's not necessarily because I think Ole Miss is better than Bama. It's because of what you're saying. The offense that Ole Miss runs is attacks Georgia's weakness, which is its secondary, spread out with 5 wide receivers and run a bunch of routes. We don't have, our secondary is not great. Maybe it gets great later, but if there's a weakness on our defense, that's what it is. I just think Georgia matches up better with Alabama right now than they do Ole Miss. But this is one of the better, we've had good defenses before. The offense we have this year, I think, is capable of scoring enough points to win some of these big games that we've lost in the past by getting outscored in the second half, most notably against of course, Alabama. But, hey, thank you for the call. I do have to let you go because I got to end the show. We're only going to take one more call. These other I'm not taking any more calls, so I'm sorry to hang up on these people that keep calling in, but this is the last call here. Slim, what's up, buddy?
I don't know how I feel going on after Florida State, man, but I guess I'll have to deal with it.
Well, look. Not all Florida State fans are bad, Slim. Say it. Say it out loud. Not all Florida State fans are bad.
Oh no, they're not. I can deal with them much more than I can Florida man. Much more.
I understand.
Well, I can't cry because we didn't lose. I can't brag because we really didn't beat anybody. But flip side of that, I mean, at least they did what they were supposed to do and obliterated an inferior opponent.
Yeah, that's all you can do. Look, I know Miami's got some issues at some positions or whatever with coaching, whatever, and I know the fans aren't happy. Alabama and Michigan State are both good teams. Alabama's a great team. Michigan State's a really good team. Look around the ACC. Miami can probably still win 9 games.
Oh, absolutely, and that's something I tried pounding into some people's heads, but they don't want to listen.
If this Jonathan person tries to call in one more time, Jonathan, if you're on hold and listening, if you try to call in one more time, I'm blocking your number. I've said 100 times I'm not taking any more calls, and you keep calling in over and over again. It's starting to irritate me, to be honest. Sorry, Slim, go ahead.
Persistent, I'll give him that. But what I tried telling him was, who's the juggernaut in front of us? I mean, we've got Virginia Thursday, North Carolina, obviously is as bipolar as everybody thought they were. And then you have the rest of the ACC doing what the rest of the ACC does.
Is Virginia on the road?
Is it out of the realm of... No, Virginia's at home Thursday.
Okay. Well, you're lucky there. but that's still Thursday games.
Yeah.
Weird.
But we still don't know who's playing quarterback. They're not releasing the depth chart, and all you're getting out of Maney is, usual what you get out of coaches. Making progress. We're hoping we can have him, that whole rigmarole.
Yeah.
But I said it last time I called in. Most of the problems I see on this team are fixable problems. I mean, like I said, they would have beat Appalachian State by more than 3 touchdowns, but they had 3 touchdowns wiped off the board for penalties. Okay, that's fixable.
Yeah.
Michigan State, that was a 1-score game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it got away at the end.
Fixable.
That game was a lot like the Notre Dame Wisconsin game. Notre Dame scored 31 points in the fourth quarter against Wisconsin last week. They had a kick return for a touchdown and I think 2 pick sixes or something like that, all in the fourth quarter, and it just got away at the end. The score, it makes that game look a lot worse than it actually was. How the game ended because of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and a lot of the problems that Miami's admittedly had over the past 4 years, has been their offense, not their defense. And I think a lot of the problems that makes their defense look worse than what it is kind of like Clemson this past week. Their defense is on the field 45 minutes of the game, and they're just wore out by the end of the game.
Yeah.
And like I said, it makes their defense look worse than it is. Now, like I said, I don't know what they're going to do. I think these are fixable problems. I don't see a big juggernaut ahead of us. I know C-Dog is starting to rah-rah for Georgia Tech, but
I'm not buying. I'm not buying the Georgia Tech hype. I'm not buying it at all.
No, and I told him earlier. I said, not to piss on your parade, but all it proves is what a lot of people have said about North Carolina. They're bipolar.
Yeah.
And if Miami can fix their problem at wide receiver. Because I said this to Pete the other day. I said their wide receiving core is a lot like a homeless man's underwear. Neither one of them can hold balls. If they can fix that problem, and that's a position I don't mind putting in freshmen. Yeah, you like that, did you?
Oh my God, that's my favorite. My favorite one about wide receivers is still he has hands like feet. But that's that I'm adding that. Say it again now. What is it again?
Their wide receivers are like homeless man's underwear. Neither one of them can hold balls.
I hope I can remember that. That's a good one.
I get some good ones every once in a while. I got Pete the other day. He was talking about, this was before the NC State game. He was talking about Skalski. And I said, having James Skalski on your team is kind of like owning a dirty bookstore with a glory hole in the back. It's not a good idea, but it could be lucrative.
Oh, there's a lot of taint roll jokes out there about our boy Skalski.
There's a few. Yeah. But, I think it's way too early in the season. And I've been clear about this anyway. I think it's way too early in the season to try and jump off the deep end with Miami. Especially the way the backup quarterbacks played. Take away the inferior talent in this game. If it wasn't for a drop pass, Tyler Van Dyke would have been 100% in that game for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. The one incompletion he had was a drop pass, and nobody was within 30 yards of him.
Yeah.
So, if need be, I don't mind throwing in some freshman wide receivers. I think that's one position you can get away at. Their offensive line's still a problem, but I think if you can actually get some wide receivers to hold on to the ball, it'll create less pressure on the offensive line because it'll make defenses back off on them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not, like I said, I understand why Miami fans are frustrated, but I still think at the end of the year, Miami can be sitting on 9 wins.
Oh, yeah. And who's to say that doesn't take them to the ACC championship game?
It might, the way things are looking.
I mean, they don't have a conference loss yet. North Carolina already has 2.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you never know. Maybe we're playing Wake Forest in the ACC championship game. We'll see how that rolls out. Sorry, Pete.
Speaking of Pete, I'm going to have to let you go, Slim. We're fixing to start the Lunch Money Show.
No problem, boss. I appreciate you taking my call.
All right, Slim. We'll talk to you next time. All right. I think this is Pete here. Good morning.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy.
Oh, it's Pigskin Pete for the Lunch Money Show. Yeah, everybody that's tuned in for the call-in show. Me and Pete do a sports betting show every Monday night at 10 called Lunch Money. We were unable to do it last night at 10, so that's why the call-in show started at 9 tonight, call-in show 9 to 10. I'm not ending the stream. We're going to keep it going, but now it's just going to be me and Pete now doing the gambling talk that we normally do on Monday nights at 10. Pete, let me get caught up on the Super Chats and stuff, and then we'll get right into it, okay?
All right.
Let's see. Hunter says, with that being said, on what other team would a player be allowed to constantly scream at the refs besides maybe Florida? He's talking about your boy Skowski. Now, Skowski does yell at the referees a lot. I have noticed that. Now,
He yells a lot in general.
How, what's up with his injury? Well, is he hurt or injured?
I think he's just hurt. I think he's supposed to be out for 4 to 5 weeks.
Oh, that's injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's injured then. He's injured then. That's not good. And what did he, wasn't his taint, was it? What did he hurt? What's injured?
I think he's actually got, I don't know. He's got a shoulder issue and also his knee. So it's 2 different things.
You know, if you go back to the last play of the Georgia Tech game where he made the tackle on the goal line, the cameras followed him afterwards, and he hurt himself on that play. You could see him holding his neck and shoulder area and like rotating his arm around and twisting his neck around after the play ended.
Yeah.
And then I know he played the following week, which was this past weekend, right? And so maybe is that when he got the knee injury then? Maybe it was this past week or whatever.
Well, I think his knee's been bothering him, but I think the main injury is to his shoulder.
Yeah. He's got that big ass neck roll.
Yeah. Well, it's not a shoulder roll, it's a neck roll.
Oh, he needs a shoulder roll is what it is. He needs a shoulder roll. Twisted Chicken, thank you for the super chat. He says, Pete, do you need some emotional support?
For what?
I don't know. Clemson, I guess.
For being married? Yeah.
Austin Rogers, thank you for the super chat. He says, what's up, Uncle Lou? I tried calling in. We need to stop looking at Alabama as a success. Dan keeps saying he's happy with it. A loss equals a loss. He's a Florida fan. I agree. And the problem with Florida, or Dan Mullen in particular, it's not that you lost necessarily to Alabama. It's the continued, constant, never-ending losses to top 10 teams. And I get it. In general, top 10 teams are pretty good. But Dan Mullen's been ranked in the top 10 every year for the last 3 years. I don't understand why he can't win any. He's 2-29. I mean, that ain't no accident. You know, that's not 1-2 or 2-3. I mean, Kirby Smart, by comparison, is something like 13 or 14-6. You know, 13 or 14 wins, 6 losses against top 10 teams. And that includes a national title game loss to Bama, a regular season loss to Bama, an SEC championship game loss to Bama. So it's not like, well, Florida, we lost to Bama. Half of Kirby's losses to top 10 teams come to Bama. But at some point, you got to beat some top 10 teams, too. 2-29, that's pitiful. That's pitiful.
That is pitiful.
PayPal. Let's see. Joshua, thank you for the PayPal. He says, hey, I saw you were feeling under the weather yesterday. Are you feeling better? And what happened to the top 25 video also? I have been. I think it's just not enough sleep. I'm hoping that's what it is. But that's what happened to the top 25 video. So I'm going to have to do it tomorrow. I don't have a morning show or anything. No live shows or nothing tomorrow. So I'm going to do the top 25 video and a second video tomorrow. But I just... procrastinated on that today. Thank you for the PayPal, though. I appreciate that. Huffer Billy Paul, thank you, sir. He says, how long before Dabo lets a coach go if Clemson looks the same on offense as they did the last 2 weeks? See y'all this weekend.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, not even with Elliott, huh? He's sticking around.
No, they're best friends. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
I think they live. I think they live next to each other. I think these guys bought houses together.
Wow.
I'm not even shitting you. So
loyalty is a good characteristic to have, but being blindly loyal can hurt you. And it's happened to some other people. Dan Mullen has been criticized in the past for being way too loyal to assistants and coordinators. And there's been a few other coaches too. Of course, the Stoops situation at Oklahoma, where they refused to get rid of what's his name? What was not Bob, not Mark, Mike, I think it was, the defensive coordinator that was at Oklahoma forever and was terrible. And of course, his brother Bob Stoops wasn't going to fire him, and Lincoln Riley comes in, and he didn't have the juice to fire him, at least not the first couple of years. Loyalty can work against you sometimes. I mean,
the irony there is that Clemson benefited from that by getting Brent Venables from Oklahoma, and now Dabo's in the same situation on the offensive side of the ball with Tony Elliott.
Yeah. We don't like to look at it this way because we're fans, but college football is a business, and sometimes you got to make tough business decisions. And if now I don't know what Clemson should do. I'm not advocating for firing Elliott or not. I don't know. But if this keeps up, I mean, it is hard to understand how Clemson went from having one of the best offenses to having one of the worst. I know you lost Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne.
That's not it.
Ukulele just looks. I mean, he looked so much better last year. He looked more comfortable, more confident.
Well, there's two main reasons. He had an offensive line that was worth the shit last year. That's number one, the main thing. And he had an Amari Rogers, somebody that would be a mismatch for linebackers and stretch the field. Clemson's got they've got a basketball team at wide receiver, a bunch of 6'3", 6'4" guys. Nobody that can really get separation on anybody other than Ross. I mean, he's 90% of the offense right now. So that's the difference between last year and this year.
Austin Rogers, the Florida fan, says he blamed Todd Grantham, but now he blames Dan Mullen because Dan Mullen's the one that keeps him around, and that's a good point. A lot of people don't like Todd Grantham, but eventually it becomes a Dan Mullen problem. Because you got to get rid of this guy if it's not working out. So I don't know. It's a tough situation at Clemson because the talent is there. So it's hard to understand. Again, it's not like they went from scoring 40 points a game to scoring 35 or 30. Maybe you say, well, what do you expect? You lost Trevor Lawrence and Etienne. This is going from 40 to 10 or whatever it is. I mean, this is like I watch Clemson's offense. I used to get mad at Georgia because they wouldn't evolve offensively. Georgia was still scoring 30 points a game, though. It was the running game, and then when we played a really good team, we couldn't throw the ball, and that pissed me off. But we weren't waddling around at 10 points a game. I mean, that's got to be – I can't imagine being a Clemson fan the last 5 or 6 years and turning on the TV, and this is what you see offensively out of nowhere.
Yeah, and like you say, I mean, these people that keep telling me that Clemson don't have any, that the ukulele's no good, the receivers are no good. The bottom line is that they've got more 4- and 5-star players on this offense than 126 other teams in the FBS right now. I mean, there's really no excuse for it. If you're not going to blame the play, I mean, I'm not blaming the players. You got to blame the coaches. And the buck stops with Dabo Swinney, because he's the head coach. But Dabo Swinney is not he's not a play caller. He hands off the defense to Brent. This is Brent Venables' defense, and this is Tony Elliott's offense. Now, if you look back at Dabo Swinney's history, since he took the head coaching job at Clemson, he's got a history of firing people when they don't perform well. He fired Billy Napier after the 2010 offensive disaster, which, by the way, this offensive disaster is even worse than the one that he fired Billy Napier for in 2010. Then after the blowout to West Virginia, the 70-33 blowout in the Orange Bowl, he fired the defensive coordinator and went and got Brent Venables.
Yeah.
So he set a precedent. In my mind, he set a precedent for this. And you got to do one of two things. All right, the offense is no good. You either got to fire the guy or you got to take on responsibility for yourself and start getting involved in the play calling and in-game management. But I don't think he's going to do that. It's not the kind of coach he is. So we'll see what's going to happen. But I don't think anything's going to change. I mean, I think the team will get better just off of experience alone. But if you're looking, if the goal is to get back to the playoffs in the next couple of years and try to win another national championship, Tony Elliott's got to go. And I see people in the chat saying, "Oh, Tony Elliott's not the problem. You got to blame Dabo." Yeah, of course, you got to blame Dabo. He's the one that's leaving Tony Elliott on the staff. But other than that, I mean, we'll see where it goes from here. I don't have any faith that he's going to fire him, though. I don't.
Let me go pee and refill this water. You'll be on your own for a minute or two, and when we come back, we'll get into this weekend's games coming up.
Yeah. All right, cool. The Nature Boy says Elliott is trash can water. Look, man, this. So for all the people saying Elliott's not the problem, you can notice a significant drop off in the offensive scheme in particular, and just the overall performance by Clemson's offense after Jeff Scott left to go to USF in 2019. Now, a lot of those deficiencies were covered up because, he had maybe the best quarterback to ever come through Clemson in history, one of the best college quarterbacks ever in history, in my opinion, Trevor Lawrence, and one of the best running backs in ACC history, and one of the best running backs in college football history, Travis Etienne. Now they're gone, and you're seeing this is what you got. So, I mean, I don't see how people can think that Tony Elliott's not the problem. Whenever he's co-offensive coordinators and sharing play calling duties with Jeff Scott leaves, and then the offense goes complete doo-doo. I don't know what you guys are looking at. But Mark Anderson says this is boring. Well, nobody's forcing you to be here. I mean, this is YouTube. You clicked on this video, and you can either choose to listen or get the fuck out. And I guarantee you, I don't care, and neither does Uncle Lou.
All right, I'm back. Let me say one other thing about Dabo, and then we'll get to this weekend's games.
Yeah.
It's been hard in a lot of cases for college coaches to go to the NFL or vice versa. And one of the reasons why I think that is the way you can treat players in college versus the NFL. And I don't mean that college coaches treat the players bad. But in the NFL, there are options, and there's always been things available to NFL players. They were paid. They were whatever. This I guess philosophy that Dabo Swinney has. This ties into the transfer portal thing too. But like, if you commit to Clemson, you can't visit another school. If you do, he yanks your scholarship offer. Refusing now to go into the portal. This would be like when the NFL first adopted free agency, and an NFL GM said, "Well, no, you quit your team. We don't want you." You just get left behind. It seems like college football is evolving, and none of us like to picture college football in any way like the NFL, because most of us are college football fans for a reason, and one of the reasons is because it's not the NFL. But players nowadays, and name, image, and likeness, and just the just the way that players are treated. It's becoming much more player-friendly, college football is, with the transfer rules, with name, image, likeness, the transfer portal, all this kind of stuff. It sounds good. Like, we want kids who are all in on Clemson from day one and don't want to consider anyone else and blah, blah, blah. I mean, you got to think, a lot of kids commit at sophomores, juniors. You tell a kid, okay, that's great that you committed. You can't visit or go to any other school or talk to any other coaches, or we're yanking our scholarship offer away. I wonder if he needs to relax on some of that kind of stuff. What do you think about that? And the transfer portal and just sort of his whole quote unquote all in thing that he has with Clemson.
Well, look, man, and I said this on my video that I posted on Monday. The thing that makes Coach Sweeney great and successful is also his biggest weakness. It's a double-edged sword. So I'm at 100% agree with you. And I've been saying this for since the transfer portal became a thing, I've been saying we need to go out and get a defensive back. We need to go out and get an offensive lineman. Whatever the hole is in the team, I think he needs to explore those options. I even said I wanted them to go get Arik Gilbert in the offseason. Thank God we didn't. But so I agree that this thing where we're not going to explore the transfer portal is complete and total bullshit. It's going to come back to bite them because you have to either evolve with the game or not, and you'll get left behind.
We've seen a couple of teams. I don't think that you can't build a team through the transfer portal. Just like in the NFL, you can't build a team through free agency. But when a season ends in the NFL and you've got 2 offensive linemen that retire or 2 that aren't any good, it's a good idea to look around in free agency and see if there's some experienced, decent offensive linemen you could bring in that could potentially make you better right away. That's what the transfer, like Florida State went out this past offseason and signed 10 transfers. That's not working. Miami did this a few years ago. They signed a ton of transfers one offseason. But going out and cherry picking, looking around like Georgia did with his defensive backs, and wide receivers with Eric Gilbert, and going, you know what, we're very young and inexperienced. We lost 6 DBs to the NFL in graduation last year. Who's out there in the transfer portal? Like Clemson could have done that maybe with the offensive, line. It seems like it just seems like I understand what he's saying. He wants Clemson people. I get that, and everybody wants that, but times are changing in college football. These kids, they don't look at committing to a school the same way they used to. And we don't have to like it, but that's just the reality we're living in college football now. And just pretending the transfer portal doesn't exist, I just don't think that's a good idea.
Well, look, man, I agree with you. It's ridiculous that he hasn't gotten anybody out of the transfer portal yet, but he has said that he's open to getting somebody. He just hasn't done it yet. So, I mean, I don't know if that's just him saying that or not, but as far as the recruiting thing, I'm not going to criticize the way Dabo Swinney recruits. I mean, I'll criticize the transfer portal thing, but he recruits a certain type of person, a certain type of player, and he's been pretty successful at doing that. So I'm not going to criticize that until I see a problem, on that front. I mean,
Texas.
Hey, but this is a betting show, and I have a question.
Yeah,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Over under 100 beers that Raj drinks this weekend. I'm going over.
I'm going to go over.
Put that on the money line.
Yeah. In fact, it might be way over. I don't know. We'll see.
He might be over before Saturday night.
Yeah. Texas T-Zip, thank you for the super chat. He says, Nathan Hale would prolapse his balloon knot just to say he took on the entire Arkansas Razorbacks roster. Wow. Rowan Hanby says Clemson needs to bring back Chad Morris to fix this offense. I don't know.
Man, I keep hearing everybody say that. Look, man, and this is the funny thing. It's like, yeah, Chad Morris's offense was innovative in 2011. The hurry up offense and just, disguising a deficient offensive line with all these different disguises and motions, but that's the norm now. I mean, Chad Morris is coaching high school in Texas right now.
Right, for a reason.
For a reason.
Yes, for a reason.
So,
good point.
stop it with that. But in all honesty, I want them to get rid of Tony Elliott, which they probably won't. But if they did, if Dabo grows a pair and actually does do that, whether it's this season or at the end of the season or whatever, I'd like to see them go the Group of 5 route and get a young guy that is innovative. Pick anybody off of Coastal Carolina's offensive staff. I don't care if it's a wide receivers coach, offensive coordinator, whatever. I mean, that's a job upgrade, right? Offensive coordinator for Coastal Carolina to come to Clemson, right? Pay him $2 million a year.
Yeah.
And not just Coastal Carolina. I mean, you look all around the country, Boise State, Cincinnati. I mean, there's a ton of Group of 5 teams that have more innovative offenses than Clemson does right now. And if they get a hold of Clemson talent and recruiting, watch out. Now, but I don't think that's going to happen. But that's the route I would go.
All right, everybody, it's time to talk about some of this weekend's games. This is Lunch Money, the sports gambling show that me and Pete normally do on Monday nights, but we're doing it on Tuesday night tonight. So, again, all these people that keep calling in, you're not getting – this isn't a call-in show. So, not sure why people are calling in still, but they are. But this is the college football gambling show with me and Pete. Let's start with this one, Pete. Slim did call in earlier. Virginia on the road at Miami in a Thursday night game. I would pick the home team to win the game here no matter what, because I think these are kind of even teams here, and these weekday games are just weird in a lot of ways. So I do like Miami to win the game. Is 5 points too much, though? What do you think? Is it going to be a close game, or do you think Miami can handle them?
Well, I actually already bet this game, and I bet Virginia, and I got it at actually I got it at 5.5. So I got a little bit better than 5. But I mean, look, now I'm wondering why I actually bet this game, but I did. I bet it on Monday, I think, yesterday or Sunday.
I would either not bet it or I would take the home team. I don't like playing these road teams on weekday games.
I don't know what Miami's doing at quarterback. The Miami fans don't know what Miami is doing at quarterback. I mean, it's easy to hop and jump on the quarterback, Derek King, whenever the team's losing and not looking good. But are they really going to tell me that the two guys that are behind him are better than him? I have a hard time believing that.
Yeah.
And this is a program right now that's in bad shape, I think. And I mean, they're ready to run this guy out of town. Hell, they're not even just ready to run this guy out of town. I've seen YouTubers talk about they want this guy. They're about to put hits out on him. There's a mob shit going on down there.
Jesus.
I think Miami loses this game. I actually think Virginia wins outright, but I'll take the 5.5.
Another weekday game. This one on Friday. Iowa at Maryland. Maryland's a 3.5 point home underdog. What do you think about this one? Is Iowa for real? They're in a lot of people's top 5, top 6, 7. Maryland's undefeated. Pineapple Jr., Mike Loxley scores a bunch of points. Do you know Iowa hasn't given up more than 24 points in a game in something like 34 games in a row? Think about that.
In this situation here, Iowa is a very good team. I think they're a little bit overranked, but I mean, if you're ranking people by the wins and losses and all that, it's this early in the season, they're properly ranked, but I think they're a little bit overhyped. Not overranked, overhyped. And I will take the home dog. If this moved down to 3 or under 3, I probably wouldn't bet it, but I think at over a field goal underdog, I would take the home dog.
Yeah, I like Maryland there too. Just because it's on Friday.
Yeah.
If it was during the week, I'd probably take Iowa. I mean, if it was on Saturday, I'd probably take Iowa. All right, your turn. You're up. What's interesting to you on here for these Saturday games?
Well, I'm looking at my pending bets. I've got 4 bets already made here. So I'm not looking at the current line. I made all of these bets on Sunday. I must have been you know why? You know why I did this? I cleaned up last week. I was 4-1 in college and 2-0 in the NFL. So I was feeling good about myself, and I started making bets.
Nice.
Anyway, my next one here is looking at bets I already made. Georgia Tech against Pitt. This game is in Atlanta. Our boy Sea Dog is going to the game. He told me that today.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he said he was going to come to hang out with us at your place, but he's going to the game, so he can't.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I got Georgia Tech at 3.5. What is it now? Are you looking at it?
Let me find it. Georgia Tech 3.5.
Yeah, another home dog. And I can't figure out why they're an underdog, to be honest with you. I mean, I know Clemson's no good, right? So we can go ahead and get that out of the way. But they still almost beat Clemson. They just boat raced North Carolina.
Pitt lost to like Western Michigan or something last week.
Yeah. How is Georgia Tech a home dog at 3.5? What is it now? Did you say what it was now?
It's 3.5 still. I'm looking at it. It's 3.5. Oh, I don't have it on the screen.
3.5.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
There it is.
This is the Pigskin Peete lock of the week right here. As far as I'm concerned.
I like that one too. And hell, I hate Georgia Tech, but this that does seem a little strange. I like Georgia Tech. I like Georgia Tech there. What else did you bet on already?
I took Louisville at +7.
Who are they playing?
And what else did I do here?
Louisville +7. I'm looking for Louisville now. Oh, Louisville at Wake Forest. You're not a buyer in Wake Forest. Wait, you're telling me so Wake Forest isn't the best team in the ACC?
Well, they probably are. It's sad. But it was just sad and pathetic. But
yeah, the current line is Wake Forest -7. Is that what you got it at? You got Louisville +7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I took Louisville with the points. I'm not saying Louisville's going to win the game, but I think 7 points is too much. I mean, look, man, the Wake Forest is Wake Forest. They do have a really good offense. Oh, I don't even know what's the over under on that.
61
that might
and
be
a half.
a better bet.
61.5.
Oh, go over. Go over.
Big.
These are two teams that can score points and can't stop a nosebleed.
Yeah, I like the over bet for sure. There.
I might actually go back and make another bet on this game. I don't know what I was thinking when I made this bet at +7, but I still like the bet. But I prefer the over. I'll probably make another bet on it and take the over as well. But this will be a shootout. This is one of those games that might go to overtime, come down to a field goal kick, and there'll be a million points scored.
You know, a lot of people are starting to feel like this is going to be one of those years in the ACC where, like, everyone is 8-4. You know, or like a couple of years ago when we had a 7-5 team. If you feel that way, then that means Wake Forest needs to start losing a few games. And this is one of the ones where you could look at it and go, you know what? Louisville gets on a roll offensively. They could keep up with Wake Forest and they could win that game, you know?
Yeah, Wake is, I mean, they are impressive on offense. I'm not going to lie. They got a lot of really good skill players. The quarterback's really good. But defensively, they look undersized. They get pushed around, even by ACC teams. So, I mean, they're not like I seriously doubt Wake Forest is actually going to win the ACC when it comes down to it. But they'll, as long as you can score points, especially in the ACC right now, how down it is, you can beat anybody on any given day.
And what else did you bet on?
This one we disagree on because I heard you talking about this earlier on another show, I think. I have Notre Dame at +2.5.
It's not a terrible bet. They haven't lost a home game I think they've only lost 2 home games in the last 5 years or something like that. They are a good team at home. They probably had their best game of the year last week, even though I don't put a whole lot of stock or faith in the fourth quarter of that game because that's just not ever likely to happen again. I mean, they had a touchdown return and 2 or 3 pick sixes in the fourth quarter. That's how they scored 31 points in the fourth quarter. I think this will be a good game. I'm going with Cincinnati just because I've been riding them all year to cover, and I'm not going to change my mind just because, they're playing a good team again. I took them against Indiana 2 weeks ago. They covered. I've won so much money on Indiana. I'm going with them just for that reason. Cincinnati was off. I mean, I've won money on Cincinnati, not Indiana. They were off 2 weeks to prepare. I still think Notre Dame's got some issues, regardless of what happened in the Wisconsin game. I'm thinking this will be a good game, though, and honestly, I kind of hope it will, because the other two big games that people are talking about a lot have the potential to not be very good games in the second half. But so yeah, I'm taking Cincinnati and laying the 2.5. I mean, this is their national title. I mean, if they don't win this game, it doesn't matter what else they do. They're going to be a borderline 11, 12, 13 ranked team, even if they go 12-1 with a conference title. People are going to say, "Well, you had your chance and you blew it." So I feel like all their eggs have been in this basket since all off season, and I'm going to go with Cincinnati.
That doesn't sound like a bad bet to me either. This is a really hard game to figure out, really. But like you said, I mean, Notre Dame at home is hard to beat. I mean, even when Georgia, a few years ago when Georgia went in there, that was a close game. Georgia was way better than Notre Dame that year. Clemson goes in there last year. I know they had some injuries and they had the ukulele and all that, but Clemson was a better team than Notre Dame was last year. They still had a hard time winning that game, or they lost the game. I just think I think Notre Dame's going to come out with the win. If this were over 3 points, I probably wouldn't touch it, but I like it at under a field goal. I think they'll win by at least 3.
And let's see, how many did you say you bet on? So that was all of them then? Or is there
I bet on 4. They have Virginia, Georgia Tech, Louisville, and Notre Dame.
Okay.
And all of those were favorites except – no, I mean, all of those were underdogs. Yeah, all of them were underdogs. I took dogs in every game.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna scroll back up to the top of the list and just scroll down and see what I think looks interesting. We'll just go back and forth. Well, hell, I'm gonna start right here. Boston College on the road at Clemson. Clemson's a 15.5-point favorite. I'm taking Clemson.
Why? You like losing money?
Well, no, no, I don't. But the ukulele, Boston College. I don't know. Why am I taking Clemson? You know what it is? I refuse to believe that Clemson is this bad.
God,
I
damn,
keep
man.
saying
like
this
Homer,
will be
me.
the week. I keep saying this will be the week they something happens and they score some points. Now I keep being wrong every week. But
they ain't scoring any points. Listen, but here's what I will tell you. See that over under 46? What's my rule, Lou, normally with the over unders in college?
I think around 50 is your number, right? Anything below that, you take the over.
Yeah, so around 50. So anything under 50, I always go over, right? Take the under. Take the under. Clemson would be lucky to score 10 points on anybody this year. That's how bad the offensive line is. Their running game it went from bad to non-existent.
Who's even going to play running back? The senior quit and the freshman's hurt.
Yeah, and so you're going to have Kobe Pace as the number 1 guy, and they're moving up a guy that went a redshirt who hadn't played at all this year, a true freshman, Phil Maffa, who I think is going to be a good player in the future. He was like Mr. Football in Florida, or one of the best running backs in Florida, but he's a true freshman and haven't played him at all. And so he's going to be like, I guess he's going to be number 2. And then you got 8th year super senior Darian Rencher.
Oh, yes.
I guess he'll be 3rd in the thing. I don't know. So anyway, the point here is the running game went from bad to literally non-existent. They're not going to have a running game. The offensive line is already bad and now even more banged up than it was before. They've got several injuries and an already depleted offensive line.
And
I don't see them manufacturing points.
Boston College almost whipped y'all's ass last year.
Yeah. What are you talking about? And now that was with Jerkovich, though. He's not there.
Yeah. All right, well,
but still, they returned. Listen, Boston College returned 17 starters from.
Never mind
starters from last year.
Never mind what I said. I'm on Boston
what
College
are you doing?
plus 15.5.
I would advise anybody who's not a Clemson fan like me that's not going to bet on the game just for that reason alone to bet on Boston College with 15.5 points. I mean, that might be the easiest bet of the week.
Oh God!
Clemson might win this game, but it ain't going to be by more than 15.5 points. So,
All right, let's see what else is on here.
Yeah, now I'm getting depressed. Move on from that one.
Yeah. Indiana at Penn State. This looked like a really good game in the preseason, but Indiana hasn't lived up to the hype. I feel like people are waiting on Penn State to lose a game every single week, and it keeps not happening. I mean, I picked them to lose week 1 on the road at Wisconsin. They won. I did pick them to win against the Barn, but they won that one at home. They just keep rolling right along. Do you think they're the best team in the Big Ten? I mean, they're the highest ranked team right now, but do you think they're the best team in the Big Ten right now?
Either them or Michigan.
Michigan looks good too.
Hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. When do they play each other? That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, there's so many good ones.
Anyway, that doesn't matter.
Big Ten.
I would say this is going to be a boat race. I can't believe this spread's only 12.5.
Yeah, Indiana has been very disappointing this year. The quarterback has not played well, and they got blown out by, I think it was Iowa. I like Penn State.
You know what I'm doing right now, Lou?
Betting on that game?
I'm betting this right now.
Yeah.
I'm betting on it while we're on the phone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's at night.
I can't
Penn
figure that.
State.
Yeah.
I like Penn State late at 12.5. Indiana's been very disappointing.
I just bet it.
Yes. Here you go. Do I have the balls to try to pull this off 2 weeks in a row? Ohio State on the road at Rutgers. Rutgers is a 15-point home underdog. I took Rutgers last week plus 20 against Michigan, and they covered. They only lost by 10. I like Rutgers again. Rutgers at home.
I like Rutgers too. Man,
we sure did jump off our Ohio State train, didn't we? We used to ride them.
Yeah,
like
I jumped off. I jumped off after week 1, and I'm glad I did too. Otherwise, I'd be losing money right now. You know who the new Ohio State is as far as betting?
Georgia.
Yep.
They're 3-1.
Yep.
They're 3-1.
I know.
But the only reason they're 3-1, the only reason they're 3-1 and not 4-0, is because of that garbage ass touchdown that UAB scored against our 4th stringers or whatever it was at the end of that game.
Yeah.
We would have covered there too.
You have to factor that in when you had to play teams like UAB. But you're right, Georgia is the new Ohio State. They're going to cover, 80, 90% of the time or whatever it is. But anyway, I'm with you. I mean, look, Rutgers is not terrible. Ohio State's not great. If you just look at the name brands on the helmets or, on the uniforms,
right,
you would say it's going to be a blowout. But for anybody who's been paying attention this season, Ohio State's got some issues offensively and defensively, mainly defensively. And I think and Ohio State's in the same position as a team like Clemson. I mean, they're better than Clemson. Don't get me wrong. If Clemson played Ohio State this week, Ohio State would win the game. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that they every time they play one of these teams that they're supposed to beat up on, it's that team's Super Bowl.
Yes.
The biggest game on their calendar, and they're going to give them all they got, and it's in Rutgers. Give me the Scarlet Knights to cover the 15. I think Ohio State will win, but give me the Scarlet Knights to cover the spread.
Man, how good would Tennessee be if they'd actually hired Greg Schiano 3 years ago?
Yeah, that might be the biggest blunder of the 21st century, coaching wise.
Yeah, what a shame. Okay. Southern Cal at Colorado. Southern Cal's a 7-point road favorite. So I can't. Let me just say right off, I can't play this game. I'm only talking about it because Southern Cal has been interesting to me this year. I picked them to win the Pac-12 South. That's clearly not happening.
Mm-hmm.
They fired a head coach after week 2. They go out the following week, blow someone out. Then this past weekend, they get basically blown out by Oregon State. So I'm only bringing this game up to say this about Southern Cal. They are the second most talented team in the Pac-12, period. I don't think you can bet any more Southern Cal games this year because they're too up and down. You don't know what you're getting. They got the interim coach. So I don't. It wouldn't matter to me whether Southern Cal. It doesn't matter who they're playing. Doesn't matter if they're a 1-point favorite or a 100-point favorite, 1-point underdog, 100-point underdog. I'm done with Southern Cal for the rest of the year, as far as betting goes, because it's way too inconsistent with the coaching shit that's going on. Who knows what's going to start happening with recruits that they've got committed in November? They're going to start interviewing coaches. It's just too much going on there. You don't know what you're going to get when Southern Cal shows up from week to week. So I can't bet them anymore the rest of this season. They're off limits for me. Can't bet on them. Can't bet against them.
I'm not going to, but this is my money line pick of the week. Pick Colorado at home on the money line. I think they win this game.
Yeah, they almost beat A&M a couple of weeks ago.
So, yeah.
And if the bad version of Southern Cal shows up, they can win this game. You got so. And plus
USC, they appear to have given up on the team, and I don't blame them. I mean, they I don't blame them. But again, this is another thing, just like I was just talking about a minute ago with Rutgers and Ohio State. You got the big name coming into the team, and this is the Super Bowl for them. They've got all the advantage. They've got nothing to lose. Southern Cal has everything to lose. It's in Colorado. I don't know what the weather's going to be like there, but there's a huge difference in weather between Southern California and Colorado, especially this time of year. Give me the Buffaloes with the upset.
Now, we're only a month into the season, 4 weeks. This just shows you how much things can change in college football. I just talked about it, but Oregon State's a terrible program and a terrible team. Most people even forget they exist. They beat Southern Cal last week, and it wasn't close. Washington was top 15 in a lot of preseason polls, top 20 in every preseason poll. Picked to either win or come in second to Oregon in the Pac-12 North. Their win total, I believe, was 10. The over-under, Vegas odds. They lose to Montana week 1, get blown out by Michigan, and now Oregon State's a 2.5-point favorite over them. I'm not betting this game. I don't know what I mean, but a month ago you'd have put your life savings on Washington plus 2.5 over Oregon State. That's my only point. It's stuff. It just goes to show you. And I'm not one of these people that says you shouldn't have preseason polls. They should wait till week 45 before they put a poll out. The polls give us something to talk about, so I'm all in favor of the polls. But this does go to show you that it's guesswork. It's always guesswork, but particularly in the preseason, it's guesswork.
And particularly this season, I mean, how many teams that were ranked in the top 10 or top 15 have fallen off the map?
It's a record. I heard it on the radio today. More top 25 teams have lost in the first 4 weeks of this season than any other year in college football history since the AP poll came out.
Yeah.
There's more teams. There's more teams that are now unranked that were ranked in the preseason AP poll than any other year in history. And that's with Clemson being at 25. So if Clemson would have fell one more spot in the AP poll, then it would have broke the record even more. But yeah, something like half, I think it's 13 of the preseason top 25 are now unranked.
It's wild. Vegas is loving this too because all that chaos creates a lot of confusion and betting, and this is why you see lines like this. This is why you see Oregon's a 2.5-point favorite or Washington. Last week, Clemson was only a 10-point favorite against an unranked team and lost. It's actually, I'm actually surprised I'm doing so well betting this year. I'm way up, considering the fact of how difficult it is to figure out who's going to win from week to week.
Yeah, I was 3-1.
Getting lucky, I guess.
College football on Saturday, 3-1. I did pretty good this weekend too. Oregon on the road at Stanford. Oregon's an 8-point road favorite. I still think Stanford is a terrible team, and Oregon. I'm starting to think, especially with Clemson falling off, Ohio State's already got the loss to Oregon. We'll see what happens with Oklahoma the rest of the way. Before the season started, I would have said the Pac-12's got to have a 13-0 team if they want to get in the playoffs because of the reputation of the Pac-12. But if Ohio State keeps winning, I think Oregon could suffer a loss somewhere along the way. I don't think it'll be this week. I think they'll beat Stanford. But what do you think about that in general? Let's say Oregon loses some kind of weird game by 3 points, but finishes the season 12-1 with a Pac-12 title and a win over an 11-1 Ohio State.
A one-loss Oregon Pac-12 champs getting in. I don't care who they lose to, unless they get blown out by, some unranked team. But that's not going to happen.
Unless Ohio State loses three more games or something.
Yeah, I don't even know if Ohio State's record matters at this point for Oregon. I mean, I don't think it does. I just think they need to keep winning.
They're so highly ranked.
Who's the biggest threat in the South? It's got to be Arizona State, right? That's the best team in the South.
Arizona State, UCLA.
UCLA, okay. Yeah, either one of those teams. I think the Pac-12 champ gets in this year. I don't see Oregon losing more than one game. They might go undefeated.
Yeah.
Honestly. Which would definitely get them in there. But even if they lost one game, as long as it wasn't a blowout to an unranked team or something, I think they'll get in there with all the chaos that's going on in the Big Ten, the ACC. This is the Pac-12's year to make it happen. And by the way, I think Oregon's a really good team. I mean, I've been saying it since the preseason. Well, I've been saying it for the past 3 years. So, I mean, eventually I'm going to get it right. But I think Oregon's a really good team, and they have a legitimate chance to make some noise in the playoffs this year. Now, I don't know how they'll fare against a team like Georgia or Alabama or whoever else gets in there, but they're a legit top 5 team right now, no doubt.
I think so too. And I like them this weekend on the road. I'll lay the 8. I think.
I like them too. I think they'll win this. I don't think this is going to be close. Is there something going on that I don't know about? See, every time I see a line like this, I get worried.
Yeah.
Like, I think Oregon should be a 3-touchdown favorite. So what's the reason that it's only 8? Is there an injury I don't know about? Did somebody, is there a COVID thing or what's going on? I mean,
I don't know, but do you remember last week, Michigan State was only a 4-point favorite over Nebraska?
Yeah.
And we're like, what? I was watching College Game Day, and you know who Bear is on College Game Day?
Yeah.
He does. He does the picks, and he goes, "This is the weirdest line I've seen all year. Michigan State's only a 4.5-point favorite over Nebraska. That's completely ridiculous. This can only mean one thing: if you're going to bet this game, it has to be on Nebraska." And he picked Nebraska plus the 4.5.
Yeah.
Because, and me and you talk about that all the time.
Exactly.
Like the best example last year, the Florida Texas A&M game. Like, we couldn't believe Florida was only I think they were a 3 or 4 point favorite or something, and we couldn't believe it. And Texas A&M ended up winning the damn game. There's
always a reason that we don't know about. And it's like it's like this old saying: if it seems too good to be true, then it probably is. Yeah. And that cannot be more true than anything but betting.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to bet this because the line here scares me, because I think Oregon is more than 8 points better than Stanford on any given Saturday. But the fact that it's 8 scares me to not bet it.
And they don't ever tear down a casino in Vegas to build a smaller one.
Oh, hey, Lou, you know what my favorite thing is when I hear from people? Vegas, I say, this team's favored, and Vegas doesn't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Do you know how close? Do you know how close they are? They are. It's scary how close they are most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, you've never been to Vegas if you think Vegas doesn't know what they're doing. Clearly.
All right, let's talk about this Ole Miss Alabama game. Now, I have been not predicting Alabama to lose this game, but all off season long, I talked about this game and I said, Ole Miss is going to be the type of team that can beat Alabama but then go 8-4. Well, from what I've seen, Ole Miss ain't going 8-4. 10-2 at the worst for Ole Miss. They're much better defensively than I thought they would be. Offensively, they're exactly what I thought they would be with getting all that stuff back in Matt Corral at quarterback. But defensively is where Ole Miss has taken a huge step forward, and I didn't see that coming. They had one of the worst defenses in history last year. They gave up almost 600 yards per game. Per game. They gave up 580 yards per game. That ain't this year's Ole Miss defense. Now, I'm not saying they're going to shut Alabama out or even hold them to 10 or 20 points. But you look at last year's Ole Miss-Alabama game, and you ask yourself, which two sides of the ball for each team are better this year and worse this year? Well, Alabama's offense is not as good as last year's. Ole Miss's offense is better. Alabama's defense might be a little bit better, but not nearly as much better as we were led to believe during the offseason. And Ole Miss's defense is miles better than last year. I really like Ole Miss's chance to win this game. I'm an idiot. That's number one. I bet this game straight up because I let someone in the comment section get under my skin. Yeah. So even if I'm right, I'll get even money. But on Bet Now, I'm going to bet Ole Miss on the money line, plus 450. I'm not going to bet a lot because I'm not all that confident in it. But plus 450 is a huge payout. I mean, a $50,
I know, man.
$50 bet will pay you $250 or whatever it is. $100 to pay. No,
I'm
$50
so
bet
tempted
pay
to
you
take
$400.
Mississippi.
Yeah, $225
on the money line. I'm definitely going to bet this game. I'm definitely going to bet Ole Miss with the points.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the balls to take them on the money line because I'm going to shoot myself in the foot. Like I want to get mad at myself if I bet a big amount of money because I was thinking about putting $100 on the money line to win 450. But I'd rather take the points. You know what I mean? I mean, this is a great game. This is definitely going to be the best game of the weekend, I think.
There's another YouTuber whose name I'm not going to mention because he's been an asshole to me in the past for no reason. But he did a thing. He didn't actually bet it. He was just showing you what it would be. If you took Ole Miss on the money line, Arkansas on the money line, Maryland on the money line against Iowa. Those are all three underdogs. And Cincinnati on the money line, who's a favorite. Plus 20,000.
Ooh.
$100 would win you $20,000.
So you're talking about if you take them on the money line and parlay it.
Yeah, parlay. A 4-team parlay.
Okay.
Where you pick three underdogs on the money line and one favorite on the money line. The Cincinnati game, it was plus 20,000.
Wow.
Now that you're throwing money away. But
how about me? So how about me, you, Raj, Billy Paul? We all throw in $10. Get 10 people, throw in $10, and we'll split the winnings. What the fuck? Why not?
Well, we should do 4 people, 25. I'll do 4, $25. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. Listen, I'm serious. I'll definitely pony up $25.
Wait a minute. Wait. Then I got to root for Arkansas? Not? Wait a minute. Hold on.
Hey,
calm your ass down.
Hey, your bank account. Hey, if you lose that game, your wallet will make you feel a lot better.
Now, that's facts. That's facts there.
It's a win-win situation, you know. We'll talk about it seriously. Well, I'll be willing to pony up $25 to do that.
We will do that. Everybody that's I don't know. There's some people that aren't coming till Saturday, but like the ones of y'all that are coming down on Friday, we'll get together on Friday night and we'll try to pick like I don't know. We'll try to pick 4 or 5. We'll try to do some silly parlay or something, and I'll throw $20 or $25 in and see if we can hit some ridiculous payout or something. That would be fun.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. Okay, Arkansas and Georgia. Georgia's an 18.5 point home favorite. I have a feeling where you're leaning here because of what you said earlier.
Yeah.
But I'll let you go first here. What do you think about this one?
So I'm not going to bet the game because I do think that Arkansas is legitimately good, not great, but good. This game's in Fayetteville, isn't it?
No, Athens.
No, it's in Athens, isn't it?
Yeah, Athens.
Oh man!
But it's at noon, and College Game Day is there. That's a problem. The stadium.
Why is that a problem?
The stadium's going to be half empty at kickoff. Not half empty,
because of game day?
But stragglers. Yeah, I've seen it before. I've been up there before. Even when they had SEC Nation up there, and the people, they'd rather stick around and hold a sign up to be on TV than they would to go in to see the kickoff.
Everything that I've seen so far this year, and look, shout out to Arkansas, and they may give Georgia a game. I mean, Georgia's due. Look, man, it doesn't matter how great your defense is or how great your team is. Every team, every season has that one game against a lesser opponent who just gives them hell. You might end up losing it. You might end up winning it by a close margin. Happens to Clemson all the time. Happens to Ohio State. Happens to everybody. Every great team. This might be that game for Georgia. I don't know. But everything I've seen this season is telling me that Georgia's going to blow the doors off of Arkansas. I think the Arkansas has been a little bit overhyped, and they've earned the the hype and everything. But the difference in talent between these two football teams is astronomical.
Yeah, like I gave this example, I think, on the morning show. Let's say you think Alabama and Georgia are the best two teams in the SEC, and maybe you think Florida's the third best team and Arkansas is the fourth best team. Okay? Tennessee is whatever they are. This is the same spread that Florida-Tennessee was. In other words, there's a huge gap. At least Vegas thinks there's a huge gap between Georgia and Bama and everyone else in the SEC. You know what I mean? I'm a Georgia fan, so anything I say doesn't hold any water. I think Georgia.
Well, apparently,
I think Georgia's the best team. I think Georgia's the best team in America. I don't think there's a team that would beat Georgia tomorrow. I don't think there's a team in America that could beat Georgia tomorrow. I don't. Including Arkansas.
I mean, just look at the comment section. No, I don't know what I'm talking about either. Clemson's no good. So who has Georgia played? Clemson's no good.
Right.
According to them, Arkansas is no good. Nobody's any good. I don't know who they think is good.
Yeah, no one's good.
But no one's good.
Now here's the thing. Arkansas is good. Like you said, they are good. And they're going to be good at 4:00 on Saturday after they lose to Georgia. Like, losing to Georgia is not going to suddenly make them bad. They're just playing a better team. It's a home game for Georgia. We're getting two pieces back. You know, Darnell Washington is back. Tyke Smith is back.
Oh, well, that makes a difference. See, I didn't know that. If that's the case, give me Georgia with the point. I was about to say I'm not going to bet it, or I wouldn't bet it. I think even against Arkansas, I think 18.5 is a lot. But if you're getting those guys back, that does change my mind a little bit. I probably would take Georgia if that's the case.
Yeah. The main concern I have about Arkansas is that wide receiver Burks or whatever that they have. He's legit. He's an NFL wide receiver. Reminds me of George Pickens. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if Arkansas hits a couple of deep ones on us. Would not be surprised at all. Arkansas's got a good defense. I don't think. What do you? The difference between Texas A&M's offense and Georgia's offense is night and day. Night and day.
Oh God.
You know, these
Texas A&M is bordering on Clemson.
Yeah, these basic, simple-minded people who keep looking at the Clemson game. Look, that was week 1. Both teams played that game tight, close to the vest. Georgia attempted one pass longer than 20 yards in that Clemson game.
And I'm going to tell you right now that Clemson has one of the top 3 best defenses in the country. I don't give a shit what happened in the NC State game. Them guys were on the field for 43 minutes.
Yes, they do.
Before that, they hadn't allowed a touchdown all game.
Right.
I mean, all season.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, how many defenses as good as Clemson's was in week 1? Not now that they're injured. How many more defenses are better than Clemson's that Georgia's going to play for the rest of the season?
None.
None.
Not in the regular season. We'll see what happens after that. I don't know, but none. Clemson's defense is absolutely legit.
Yeah. So
Georgia's 12th in American points per game. I mean, it's time to stop all this shit about Georgia's offense. Georgia's 12th in American points per game. Oh, but it hadn't played anybody. Everybody hasn't played anybody. That's the point. Nobody, why isn't everybody 12th in points per game? You know what I mean? Why isn't Florida 12th in points per game? Why isn't Arkansas 12th in points per game?
Yeah, who has Arkansas played?
Yeah, Georgia's going to win this. Georgia's going to win this. Georgia's going to win this game. I don't think this is going to be close. I think Arkansas is a good team. I just think there's a really big gap right now between great and good, and I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see that this weekend, and then we get to listen to everybody tell us that Arkansas is terrible and overrated all next week.
Yeah, they're not terrible and overrated, no matter what happens. I mean, they might. They might keep the thing. Yeah, I mean, they're not definitely not better than Georgia. They might play tough and keep it closer than people think. I don't know. I'm not going to bet that game. I'm too confused. I'm not betting it. But
Kevin Wood says game of the year: Vandy versus UConn. Yeah, that's fake news.
Can you imagine if Vandy lost at UConn? Jesus Christ.
Dalton, I believe, is talking about the Iowa-Maryland game. He says both teams are extremely close in talent, having a marquee matchup against Penn State next weekend. I think Iowa is in danger of overlooking this game. Give me Maryland on the money line. That's not a terrible
Why in the
pick.
hell would Iowa overlook any game? I mean,
Maryland's pretty good.
They're good, but they haven't earned.
I think Maryland's got a chance in this game. I mean, I do think Iowa's a little better, especially, I mean, Iowa's defense is good too, but that's not a terrible pick, Maryland. On the money line.
He said Iowa's in danger of looking past this game. I don't know. Iowa has not earned the right to look past anybody. Yeah. They're not Alabama.
What else is on here?
What were we talking about? Florida and Florida and Kentucky? That's the one we were looking at next?
Well, no, we weren't talking about that, but we can. We were talking about Georgia, Arkansas. But yeah, what's next on the list? Florida. Yeah, Florida and Kentucky. Let's look at that one.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? I'm actually a little bit surprised about the over-under on this one. That's the first thing that jumps out to me is the 55. I believe this is going to go over 55. I think you'll see this. I think Florida probably score close to 40. And I don't know. Kentucky. I don't know. Can Florida stop Kentucky? I mean, I can't believe I'm saying that.
If Kentucky plays like they played the last 2 weeks, they're going to get blown out. Kentucky has not looked good now 2 weeks in a row. They were lucky to get a win over Chattanooga. They were losing for a lot of that game. And then they only put up 16 on South Carolina last week. They won 16-10. They only threw for 100 yards.
Yeah, right.
It is at Kentucky. And, you know, Kentucky, at least recently, has played its best game of the year every year, it seems like, against Florida.
Against Florida, right.
They've only beat them once in the last, 35 years or something crazy like that. But, so, 4 of the last 5 or 6 Florida-Kentucky games have been close. I think
Florida's going to score a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Florida's going to score a lot of points, and so if I think Florida's going to score 40, do you think Kentucky can manage to score more than 15?
Well, they don't need to score.
That's my question because I think
you like the over/under you're talking about?
I like the over. I like the over 55. I think that's too low.
Okay. I like. Florida
I don't know about the spread.
Covered 8.5.
Okay.
I think the shine has wore off of Kentucky the last couple of weeks. I don't know if they forgot to prepare for Chattanooga and South Carolina, and they were looking towards the floor. I don't know because they did look good the first couple of weeks. Will Levis was putting up crazy yards throwing the ball, which for Kentucky is a minor miracle. But the last 2 weeks they have not looked good, and Florida's played its best 2 games of the year the last 2 weeks. Florida didn't look good the first 2 weeks against 2 nobody teams, South Florida and FAU. They didn't look good. They played their 2 best games the last 2 weeks and lost to Alabama in the win over Florida. Emory Jones, as much hell as I give him, he had 4 turnovers in the first 2 weeks against terrible teams. He's only had 1 turnover in the last 2 weeks against 2 SEC teams. I don't know if Simone Biles is playing or not this week. I don't know if they're still pretending he's injured or not. So it might just be Emory Jones again. Simone Biles is Anthony Richardson, by the way. But I like Florida lady 8.5 on the road.
Yeah. Florida scares me too much to bet the spread with them. I'm just looking at the total here. I go over 55 is my final answer on that one. You're probably right. Florida's probably the safe bet at minus 8.5. Probably win this by a couple of touchdowns, but I don't trust them. Why would I? Why would anybody?
That's a fair point. Dan Mullen's not a very good head coach. Oklahoma on the road at Kansas State. Kansas State has beat Oklahoma 2 years in a row. Now, Kansas State's quarterback and best player, Skylar Thompson, is out. Not playing. Oklahoma's favored by 10.5 on the road.
10.5.
Yeah.
My God.
Here, you got to talk about this game for a second. I'll be right back. You talk about it. I'll be right back.
All right. I don't have a whole lot to say other than that. I mean, what's going on here with this line here? Oklahoma should be favored by 3 touchdowns, and this is another one that was just like we were talking about the game earlier. The line is so ridiculous that it scares me away from it. I'm putting this right in that category of the do not touch games. Unless you're an Oklahoma fan and you want to risk whatever amount of money you want to risk to bet on your favorite team, if you're a homer or whatever, go ahead and go for it. I mean, everything in my brain tells me Oklahoma's going to win this game by 3 or 4 touchdowns. I don't understand the line here. I think it's probably an overreaction to the way that Oklahoma's played so far this season, and I mean, I guess that's justified. Maybe the same reason that Clemson was only a 10-point favorite to NC State, but guess what? They lost. I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I can't even believe that we're looking at a Big 12 game with an over-under at 52.5. You know what? Give me the over. You're going to bet this game, forget the spread. Take the over 52.5. I mean, if you're just playing percentages, which is all betting really is, percentages, the chance that any Big 12 game on any given week scores less than 52.5 points total has got to be less than 10%.
I would like to remind you that last week's West Virginia-Oklahoma game was 13-10.
I said less than 10%, not 0%.
Ah, okay. Wasn't that a weird game, too? Did you watch any of that one?
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oklahoma hit the field goal at the end. I felt bad for our buddy Golden Blue Man. Oh, do you know Golden Blue Man's coming down?
Well, I heard not until I heard you say that earlier in the show.
Yeah, he emailed me. You know, he doesn't live in West Virginia. He lives in South Carolina. So he emailed me and said he wants to come down.
Yeah, he's a tater, man. He just doesn't want to admit it.
Right. He emailed me today, and I said, "Yeah, man, come on down." So,
we gotta go. We got quite the motley crew showing up, don't we?
Hell, it's basically the Slob Olympics at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what you're getting yourself into. I don't know what you were thinking.
Yeah. Well,
Biting all these people over.
I don't either, but hey, we'll have a good time though. We're gonna go out to eat. What time do you think you're gonna be here on Friday?
Well, I was trying to figure that. I was talking to Rods about that because I've got to drive through Columbia, and I don't know if you've ever been through Columbia on Friday at rush hour. It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got to make a choice. I've got to get through Columbia before rush hour or after rush hour. So it really depends on when you are available to have me come. I mean, I know it's up to you.
Yeah. I have to pick my daughter up from school at 2:30. And so and by the time you wait in the line and that, I'll be back home by 3:30. So anytime after,
Okay, so if I get there around 4:30 or 5, you're cool with that?
Oh yeah, because I think Rod said him and Huffer Paul are going to be here around 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'll have to look at Google Maps. I think I'm about between 2 and 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
From Evans. That's
I'd
where
like
you're at, right?
to go. I'd like for us all to go eat tomorrow night at T-Bones, and y'all can all have the Tommy fries.
Well, if you go eat tomorrow night at T-Bones, I won't be there because tomorrow is Wednesday.
Friday. You know what I mean? Okay, smart ass. Yeah, but that's what I would like to do. I'd like all us to go out to T-Bones. I'm gonna buy the Tommy fries are on me.
No.
I'm gonna buy like 4 appetizers of Tommy fries, and then whatever else y'all want, y'all can get on your own. But I'm buying the Tommy fries.
See, you're getting ahead of yourself. I'm buying you dinner on Friday night for having me over.
Oh, okay.
So and then that's not up for discussion.
All right.
So
I'm not gonna argue with you. So
all right. So I'll buy dinner. Yeah, T-Bone sounds great to me.
all right.
Sounds good.
But now for Saturday, I already ordered lunch or dinner or whatever we're doing. Already ordered it. Since Georgia's playing Arkansas, there's a world famous barbecue place here, Sconyers. Like something like 5 presidents have come down here just to eat there. I ordered a bunch of chipped pork, hash and rice, potato salad, the whole deal for Saturday, and I'm just gonna have it spread out. Because I don't do there ain't no sit down meals here. I mean, we just watch football all day. I'm just gonna have it sitting out, and people just whenever you're hungry, you just make yourself a plate and heat it up, type of thing. But it's really good, really good.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, big barbecue meal on Saturday. What time is the Clemson game, by the way?
It's a night game. I can't figure out why.
Oh, okay. But, well, that's good. We watched the Georgia game at noon.
It's 7:30 or 8.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, Clemson at noon then, or Georgia, Arkansas at noon. Cincinnati, Notre Dame at 2:30. Alabama, Ole Miss at 3:30, and then got the Clemson game we can all watch at night. That'll be fun.
Yeah. So, what other games are at night other than Clemson? I mean,
let's pull the schedule up and see. ESPN.
Yeah.
Schedule. Let's take a look. Primetime games: Mississippi State at Texas A&M, Baylor at Oklahoma State, Kansas at Iowa State, Indiana at Penn State, Boston College at Clemson, Auburn at LSU. That game's lost a lot of the shine, especially with Auburn almost losing to Georgia State.
Yeah.
Last week, but that one comes on at 9 actually. So there's definitely Northwestern at Nebraska. So there's a lot of games at least worth watching, in prime time, and then of course Arkansas, Georgia at noon, Michigan at Wisconsin at noon, Tennessee at Missouri at noon, Notre Dame, Cincinnati at 2:30, Alabama, Ole Miss at 3:30, Oregon at Stanford at 3:30, Oklahoma at Kansas State 3:30, Ohio State at Rutgers 3:30. There's good games on all day long, or at least games worth watching anyway.
Yeah, it looks like most of the good games are on during the afternoon, and so I can't believe one of the best games is Clemson and Boston College at prime time. That's crazy.
Yeah, I hate that the Georgia-Arkansas game is at noon. I mean, like, Florida and Kentucky is at 6 on ESPN. Georgia-Arkansas is at noon on ESPN. Like, why? That should be switched. It should be Florida and Kentucky at noon. Georgia and Arkansas at 6. But
yeah, it should be.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna have a good time though. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Can't wait.
It all happened so quickly, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You got yourself you invited Tiger Bassins down before you know it, half the internet's coming over.
Yeah, I've done this before. It's been a couple of years, but there's been a couple of times before where I invited like people off of YouTube to come over and watch the game. It's always been a lot of fun. I don't know why I didn't do it the last couple of years, especially last year. It would have been fun to do, but I actually did invite me and Carolina Jackpot were supposed to get together and watch the South Carolina game last year, but it ended up when they switched the schedule around, they moved the Georgia-South Carolina game to they changed the date or something of the game, and I wasn't able to do it. I was out of town or whatever it was. I forget now, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You're in a good location for it. You're sort of central. Location for the people that live in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, wherever, Florida, wherever they're coming from, you're in a central spot, which is good. I mean, hell, you're closer to me than I am to Atlanta. Hell, you're closer to me than I am to Clemson. It's 3.5 hours to get to Clemson. It's only about 2.5 hours to get to Augusta from here.
Yeah, that's right.
But I was talking to Mrs. Peete the other day, and I would like to have during the off season some people over here. It won't be for game day or anything. But whoever's willing to come, I mean, everyone's invited, just like you said, everyone's invited, come over, hang out, have a barbecue, whatever. We got plenty of room, and Charleston's a pretty cool town for people that want to visit. So we'll talk about that later.
Scott Kerr
definitely
called into the morning show this morning, and I told him, I said, I really want to get to Charleston for a weekend and hang out with you and Pete. I told him, I said, that would be a lot of fun. Y'all can take me around y'all's favorite places or whatever.
If you want to come down, a lot of fun. You want to come down, you and Battle Angel, whatever, during the summertime. Well, we got a spare bedroom here. We can go out, hang out for the weekend, and then we'll talk about it. But,
yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. Trace Lothar of the Hill People, thank you for the super chat. He says good morning in that. Yeah, good morning. We kind of got off the gambling.
The Hill People.
You remember that old skit from Saturday Night Live? Back when Saturday Night Live was good? I am Lothar of the Hill People. His name is Trace Lothar, and every time I read his name, it reminds me of that Lothar of the Hill People skit from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, the Hill People, that's the West Virginia fans.
Yeah. That was it for the games. Tennessee at Mizzou. Mizzou's a 3-point favorite. You know what? I'm going to take Tennessee. They need a unexpected win. Their fans deserve it. Give me Tennessee in the 3 points.
Yeah, Missouri just lost to Boston College. I don't know, man.
It's hard. It's hard to bet on Tennessee, ain't it? I know it is. I know it is.
Tennessee's really bad. But why is the over-under 65? Give me the under on that. I mean, I don't know. You know what? Forget that. Forget I even said that. I'm not touching this game with a 10-foot pole. But I probably would take Missouri at -3. Tennessee is just that bad, man. They are really pitiful.
Michigan at Wisconsin. Michigan's looked way better. Michigan has not won a game at Wisconsin in forever. I thought it was. Nate said I think it was 30 years. I don't know if that's right, but anyway, Wisconsin's favored. Years. Wisconsin's favored, sir. 1.5.
Give me Michigan.
Yeah, I like Michigan.
I'm not really yeah, maybe you know what, we're about to fall in the same trap that we've been falling in for the past 3 years.
I know.
Starting to believe in Michigan.
I know, and I've swore them off, and here I go again down the same rabbit hole. But I probably won't bet that game for that reason, but for doing the picks for now.
I'm not going to for that reason. I put Michigan in timeout like a little kid. I'm not messing with them until they can prove anything different. But I do believe Michigan's going to win the game. I think they're a better team. They might be the best team in the Big Ten. Imagine that. Imagine if somebody would have told you 4 weeks ago, Lou, that Clemson would be the third or fourth best team in the ACC, and that Michigan would be the best team in the Big Ten. It's all they're crazy.
And that College Game Day was coming to the Georgia-Arkansas game.
The upside down world.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, well, I guess we can just about wrap it up then. Hey, to everyone that's tuned
You've been on
in.
the air for about 3 hours.
Yeah, to everybody that's tuned in, this last hour with me and Pigskin Pete, we do this normally every Monday. So if you haven't checked out the Lunch Money Show with me and Pigskin Pete that comes on this channel Monday nights at 10, if you enjoyed the last hour with me and Pete on here, we do this every Monday at 10. We had to reschedule it this week for tonight, which is why the call-in show started at 9 today and went from 9 to 10 instead of the normal time of 10. But if you enjoyed this, check out the Lunch Money Show that me and Pete do every Monday night. What you saw the last hour, like I said, we do that every Monday night at 10 p.m. So if there's some of you watching this show because it was the call-in show and you haven't checked out the Lunch Money Show, check it out this coming Monday, 10 p.m. We do it every Monday year-round, actually. So, yeah, make sure you check it out. Pete, you got your live show Wednesday, and now Friday you're doing your call-in show live from YouTube Studios. Is that true?
Yeah, that is true. I'll be doing my show tomorrow night here from Pigskin Pete Studios, and then Friday I'll be doing the live call-in show at 10 p.m. from YouTube Studios with some special guests. Of course, my normal co-host is Tiger Baskins every Friday. He'll be there. And I have another pretty special co-host, I think, coming on Friday night as well. You might know him.
Yes. Uncle Lou. Uncle Lou will be live in YouTube Studios for the Pigskin Pete call-in show. And now, is this true or false? Your call-in show is the most underrated on YouTube.
It's definitely the most underrated in the college football world. I can't speak for any other call-in shows. You know, there might be some hotline shows that are more underrated than mine, but as far as college football goes, it's the most underrated. It's really not even close.
Can you send me the link to those?
Yeah, as soon as you get off the phone, I'll send you. But Scott Kerr's got them. He said, what was it, milfbabes.com or something?
Oh, yeah, that's right. All right, Pete. This was great, man. I'm glad we were able to get it worked out so that we could do it tonight and didn't have to skip it. And next week, we'll be back to the normal time, 10 p.m. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Friday. We're going to have a good weekend. We're going to have a lot of fun. You guys make sure you tune in to me and Pete and Raj and Tiger Baskins, all these guys that have YouTube channels this weekend, because we're going to be hanging out all weekend long, and there's no telling what type of trouble we might get into, and we're all going to have cameras all the time, so you don't want to miss it. So you guys make sure you tune in this weekend. But all right, Pete, great show, buddy.
I got you. See you later.
All right, later. You guys subscribe to Pigskin Pete if you're not already. Just type, Pigskin Pete. Pete has 2 E's, 3 E's in it. P-E-E-T-E. Subscribe to Pigskin Pete. Appreciate all of you tuning in. Back to normal on Thursday with the regular call-in show at 10 o'clock. And we'll go a little longer on Thursday since I had to cut it short today. I know a lot of people were trying to call in, and I had to disconnect them because we had to get to the Lunch Money Show at 10. So we'll go a little longer with the call-in show on Thursday to try to help make up for that. All right? But hey, we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for all the support you continue to show me on this channel and me and Pete with the Lunch Money Show. Great weekend of college football coming up. We're going to have a lot of fun. Hope all your teams win, unless you're an Arkansas fan, and you have to tote the giant L. But other than that, hope you all win. All right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. Try to get a decent night's sleep. No morning show tomorrow because it's Wednesday. The morning show will make a triumphant return Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Call-in show Thursday night, 10 p.m. You already know. All right, you guys take it easy. And have a good morning.